Can the federal government really create a program that generates 20 million new jobs in energy-saving industries that fight global warming?
Well, we're about to find out.
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Marie. We're Southern California college students talking to Stas Margaronis, the founder of Rebuild the United States.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Rebuild the United States wants Congress to enact on a jobs bank that will help create 20 million jobs. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is there any hope that this idea can become a reality?
There is hope that it can become a reality. During World War II, the United States generated 18.7 million jobs between 1939 and 1944. We've done it before. The challenge we have is we need to be focused on a hard number that solves the problem. And what has been happening for the last 3 years is people are talking about jobs, but they're not serious. At the point that they're serious, they're going to need to start talking about 20 million jobs. Now, we need to start making the political support out there heard in Congress. Until we start doing that, people are not going to listen. But what I'm saying and have been saying is that as the job situation deteriorates, and we saw that the August data showed that we had no gain of jobs in August, I believe beginning in September, the political pressure from Americans who are getting more and more disturbed about the lack of progress on jobs is going to force Congress to have to change direction and start getting serious about jobs and stop just talking about jobs.
Your campaign, Rebuild the United States, advocates creating 20 million jobs at a time when no one in Washington or Wall Street is talking these numbers. Can you give us one good reason why anyone should take you seriously?
Well, first of all, there's a total of about 20 million Americans out of work or underemployed, and we need to focus on that number. Because we haven't been focusing on that number, we have a problem. Everybody's talking, but talk is cheap until you're focused on the fact that we really need to create 20 million jobs. That said, we need to start looking at what is going to get us across the street on that. And what I've talked about is we need a jobs bank. We need something that's sizable, that can create a lot of loan guarantees. Those are loans that ensure banks to go and make loans for energy-saving projects that can put a lot of Americans back to work and hopefully will also reduce emissions and help us fight global warming.
You have a startup campaign, RBTUS.
Yeah.
But you have no political endorsements, no business endorsements, and
true.
You yourself are an unknown.
Right.
How will you succeed?
Well, you know, I like to think that I'm kind of like an old historical figure who started out with no disciples and worked upwards. So there's always hope for people like me. My focus right now is to go to college campuses and to younger people. When I go to talk to younger audiences and I say, look to the left of you, look to the right of you, because maybe none of you is going to have a job when you graduate, they get it. And I need to work with that group of people to try and get the message out that we need to be focused on 20 million jobs, that we need a major campaign, and that if we can get younger people and students to get mobilized, we can hopefully get their elders to listen as well.
Isn't it politically unrealistic to expect Congress to enact a jobs bank using federal loan guarantees when so many politicians and business leaders are demanding cutbacks in spending and the federal deficit?
That was the wrong approach, and that approach is why the situation is getting worse. There is a projection that the cutbacks that Congress and the President agreed to are going to lead to 2 million more job losses next year. I believe in an election year, people are going to start focusing the politicians' attention on the fact that what they need to be doing is to stop playing games with the budget and start focusing on what gets us jobs, and not just a handful of jobs, not just some tax credits, but real financing for millions of jobs. I think the political reality is about to turn in that direction.
A key element of your campaign is organizing college students and younger Americans to force Congress to act.
Yes.
Why is this a good strategy?
I find, as I was saying to you earlier on, that when I go to younger audiences, they get it. I really don't have a problem. If I start talking for 30 seconds, everybody understands what I'm talking about. It's my experience that you always need to work with the people who really understand where you're coming from. I believe that the message about creating jobs, about creating long-term investments, about creating an economy that gets rebuilt is something that younger voters and college students really understand. They are about to go out into the workforce. They know what the challenges are. They're not fooled by all of the rhetoric and all the talk. They need to do something. And also they know that they've got all of their lives ahead of them. So I think we have a synergy and a common interest between the two of us. And what I'm hoping to do is, by getting work support with college students here in Southern California, that message will start to go out to other places, and we will begin to build that interest. The other thing that helps us out is the social networking systems and just the ability to communicate quickly. If we have a good plan and we really are serious, I'm hoping that seriousness and that sincerity will communicate to people.
Where did the 20 million figure come from, and how realistic of a goal is it?
Well, we did it in World War II. We generated 18.7 million jobs during World War II, so it can be done. That number came because there are about 13 million Americans out of work, and there's another 7 or 8 million Americans who are underemployed or who are making subsistence wages, and that comes out to about 20 million people. I think that we really do need to focus on that kind of ambitious goal, because that is a level of seriousness that can solve the problem. Without that level of seriousness and without talking about that 20 million, we are not talking about a serious solution. So when you hear presidential candidates coming out and talking in the next month, which you're going to hear a lot about the jobs, listen to hear a number. And one of the things that you're going to hear is very few people are talking about numbers, and when they're not talking about numbers, they're not really talking about jobs.